January 24th, 2026, the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Paddy Pimblett stepped into the octagon for the biggest fight of his life. The 31-year-old from Liverpool was undefeated in the UFC, riding a 7-fight win streak and standing on the edge of history.
I'll be back better. It's as simple as that. You haven't seen the last of me.
An interim lightweight title hung in the balance. Victory would make him Britain's 4th UFC champion, but across the cage stood Justin Gaethje, a 37-year-old knockout artist who had been in wars that would break most fighters. 5 rounds later, Paddy's face was unrecognizable. His record was broken, and his dream of gold was shattered. The judges scored it 48-47, 49-46, 49-46, all for Gaethje. Paddy Pimblett had lost for the first time in the UFC. The fight was sold as power versus submission, Gaethje's knockout ability against Paddy's grappling threat. Many expected an early finish, but what unfolded was a brutal war that lasted the full 25 minutes. From the opening seconds, both fighters came out swinging. Gaethje, despite being the underdog, showed no fear. He marched forward, throwing heavy shots, looking to put Paddy on the back foot, and it worked. Midway through the first round, Gaethje landed a devastating body shot to Paddy's solar plexus. Pimblett dropped to the canvas. Gaethje swarmed, landing hard shots as Paddy tried to survive. Somehow, the Liverpool fighter made it back to his feet and even landed clean uppercuts before the round ended. But the tone was set. Gaethje was here to hurt him. The second round brought more punishment. Gaethje dropped Pimblett again late in the frame. The crowd watched replays between rounds and spotted something the referee missed. Gaethje's thumb had poked Paddy straight in the eye right before the knockdown. Earlier in the first round, referee Mark Goddard had already warned Gaethje for an eye poke, telling him a second one would cost him a point. But Goddard didn't see this second foul. The knockdown counted. Gaethje continued landing heavy shots until the bell saved Pimblett once more. By this point, Paddy's right eye was badly swollen. His face was already showing damage. His corner panicked, begging him to take Gaethje down and use his grappling. But Paddy didn't listen. This became one of the most frustrating aspects of the fight. Paddy Pimblett is a second-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He had finished elite grapplers before, including a rear-naked choke over Jordan Levitt and a triangle choke submission over Bobby Green, who hadn't been submitted in 15 years. His grappling is his greatest strength. Justin Gaethje, meanwhile, had been submitted in both of his previous undisputed title fights against Khabib Nurmagomedov and Charles Oliveira. The path to victory was clear. Take Gaethje down, control him, submit him, but Paddy refused. According to reports, he had told the media before the fight that he wasn't coming in to grapple. He said he would outstrike Gaethje and try to knock him out. This decision would haunt him. The third round gave Paddy some hope. He regained his composure and started landing clean shots. He wobbled Gaethje with strikes and took the center of the octagon. For a moment, it looked like momentum might shift, but before the round ended, Gaethje complained of a low blow that stopped the action briefly. The advantage slipped away. By the fourth round, both fighters were exhausted. Gaethje dropped Pimblett for a third time. The Scouser continued throwing back, absorbing massive damage, refusing to quit. He lived up to his pre-fight words that Scousers don't get knocked out, but his face told a different story. Deep cuts opened above his eyebrow. Both eyes were swollen and nearly shut. His nose was bleeding. His lips were split. The accumulated trauma was horrific. The fifth and final round was desperate. Pimblett knew he needed a finish. He came out throwing wild combinations, trying to land something that would change everything. He even attempted to take Gaethje down, wrapping around his body in a last effort to get the fight to the ground. But Gaethje's wrestling background held strong. He stuffed the attempts and continued landing strikes. The two battered warriors embraced before the round began, a sign of respect in the middle of war. When the final horn sounded, Pimblett raised his arms, hoping, but everyone knew. Gaethje raised his arm in anticipation. When the scores were read, Pimblett began applauding. He knew the better man had won that night. Joe Rogan entered the octagon to interview both fighters. He told Paddy that his performance felt like a victory even in defeat. Pimblett, his voice shaky, his face destroyed, tried to stay positive. He said he wanted to walk away with that belt. He said he knew how tough he was and didn't need to prove it to anyone. He said there was no man he'd rather lose to than Justin Gaethje, someone he loved watching growing up. He called the 48-47 scorecard fair. He admitted the body shot shot in the first round had gotten him, hitting him right in the solar plexus. He said he thought he was winning the round until that point. Then he said something that would become his rallying cry. "You live and you learn. I'm 31. I'll be back better. You haven't seen the last of me." But Paddy wasn't done speaking. Even in his most painful moment, he used his platform for something bigger. He dedicated his performance to people he had lost. He mentioned his friend Liam Gittins, saying Liam's mother Julie had passed away a couple of months earlier. Then he turned to a cause that has defined much of his public image. He spoke about mental health. He said 2 men he knew had killed themselves in the months since his last fight.
One of my friends back home had killed himself. This was 5 hours before me weigh-in.
His voice grew more urgent. "Men, speak up. Don't bottle your feelings up. Talk to someone. Don't kill yourself." The crowd went quiet. This wasn't just a fighter making excuses or complaining about the decision. This was a man trying to save lives. Paddy also paid tribute to Liverpool Football Club legend Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva, who had both died in a tragic car crash in July of the previous year. As a massive Liverpool fan, Paddy wanted to honor their memory, even though he didn't win. The moment was powerful. Many fans watching at home and in the arena were moved. Social media lit up with people praising Paddy's grace in defeat and his willingness to speak on difficult topics when most fighters would just walk away angry. Gaethje, standing next to him, showed nothing but respect. He said Paddy was right that Scousers don't get knocked out. He called Pimblett a gangster. He explained his strategy, saying he knew he had to put Paddy on his back foot because the Liverpool fighter was very dangerous with great timing. He said he had to steal Paddy's momentum and confidence, and that the champions move forward. Gaethje also mentioned trusting his coach's advice to move Paddy backward and put his head on his chest. He praised his own ground and pound, saying it was nasty. Immediately after the post-fight interviews, Paddy was rushed to a local Las Vegas hospital. UFC president Dana White captured the extent of the injuries when he visited Pimblett in the dressing room. White posted a photo to his Instagram story showing Paddy's battered face with the caption, "Savage." The image went viral. Paddy looked barely recognizable. Blood was pouring from his eye. His entire face was swollen and bruised. White later told the media that he didn't know Paddy had a chin like that until that night. He called it an absolute dogfight and a war. He said both fighters earned much respect. White also said Paddy was sent straight to the hospital for precautionary CT scans of his head and face. Thankfully, all tests came back clean. For 3 days, Paddy stayed quiet. No social media posts, no interviews, just silence. Fans wondered how he was handling it. On January 28, 2026, Paddy finally broke his silence with a statement on Instagram. He thanked everyone who came to support and everyone watching at home. He said he was all good with no injuries. He said he went into the fight feeling amazing, had a great camp, and an easy weight cut. Then he made it clear, no excuses. The better man won on the night. He congratulated Gaethje and called it an honor to share the cage with such a legend. He told Gaethje to go get the undisputed title because his career deserved it. But Paddy also made one thing clear. He said he hoped they could run it back for the undisputed belt someday because he still knew it was in his destiny to win gold. He thanked the UFC for the opportunity and promised fans he'd be back for that belt in the near future. A few days later, Paddy posted a video to his popular YouTube channel. He joked about his injuries and laughed at himself. He admitted that he had said before the fight that he would make Gaethje's face look different, but for a couple of days, it was his own face that looked different. He said he had big black eyes and puffy swelling, but a week later, he claimed his face was mostly healed. The only lingering issue was his eyeballs, scratched from fingernails during the fight. He said he probably had a scratched cornea. Photos shared by his wife Laura showed the full extent of the damage. One picture captured Paddy with 2 badly swollen eyes as the couple shared a kiss. Laura captioned it, "Forever proud of you. Love you so much." The images went viral again. Fans on social media said Paddy looked like he'd been run over by a truck. The loss had real consequences beyond the physical damage. In the updated UFC lightweight rankings, Paddy dropped from number 5 to number 6. Benoit Saint-Denis, who had just knocked out Dan Hooker at UFC 325, leapfrogged him into 5th place. Saint-Denis was now on a 4-fight win streak, with all victories coming by finish. The French fighter was closing in on a title shot. Meanwhile, Paddy's path forward became became unclear. He had just fought for an interim title and lost. Where does someone go from there? Critics came out in force. UFC legend Matt Brown argued that Paddy still had a lot to prove. Brown said he didn't know if he would pick Paddy against anybody in the top 10, maybe even the top 12 or 13. He questioned how far down the rankings you'd have to go to find someone he'd favor Paddy against. Brown pointed out that Paddy doesn't hold a single win over anybody ranked in the top 15. His biggest victory came against Michael Chandler, who had a 2-5 record in the UFC. Brown suggested that Paddy's next fight should be against Benoit Saint-Denis to find out where he truly stands in the division. Arman Tsarukyan, another top contender, took shots at Paddy on social media. He called Pimblett a clown who couldn't beat a 37-year-old Gaethje. He said Paddy had been given opportunities and pushed up the rankings artificially. He called the title shot completely undeserved. Even Ilia Topuria, the current undisputed lightweight champion and Paddy's longtime rival, mocked him. Topuria posted that Paddy only had to beat a 38-year-old guy and failed. He said Paddy just lost the biggest paycheck of his life. The trash talk was brutal, but Paddy Pimblett isn't someone who stays down for long. Less than 2 weeks after the fight, he was back in training. He posted photos from Next Generation MMA in Liverpool, the gym where he started his journey at age 15. Back in the lab, he wrote, "Nice to be back training. I'll be in that octagon before you know it, people. Believe that." He said he was targeting a summer comeback, having suffered no serious injuries beyond the scratched cornea. His rapid return to training surprised many. Most fighters who absorb that much damage take months off to recover. Paddy was back in less than 2 weeks. This resilience isn't new for him. Paddy's career has been filled with setbacks that would have ended most fighters. Born on January 3, 1995, in Huyton, Merseyside, Paddy started training in mixed martial arts at age 15 after watching the fight between Rich Franklin and Vitor Belfort at UFC 103. He joined Next Generation MMA and decided almost immediately that he would compete professionally. He made his pro debut in 2012 at just 17 years old, winning by TKO in the first round. By 2016, he had claimed the Cage Warriors featherweight championship, beating Johnny Fracci at the Echo Arena in Liverpool in front of his hometown fans. He defended it once against Julian Erosa in a highly controversial decision. But then, disaster struck. In April 2017, Paddy lost the featherweight title to Nad Narimani in front of his home crowd in Liverpool. The loss devastated him. Years later, Paddy admitted in interviews that he didn't leave his house for weeks after that defeat. He was crying every morning. He felt ashamed and embarrassed. He said he even had thoughts of He bottled everything up because he didn't think he could speak to anyone about it. But his coach told him he needed to talk to people and get it off his chest. Paddy spoke to his coaches at Next Gen Gym, his friends, and his fiancée, Laura. The next morning, for the first time in weeks, he didn't cry. That moment changed everything for him. It became the foundation of his mental health advocacy. After losing the featherweight belt, Paddy moved up to lightweight. He won his next fight, but then challenged for the Cage Warriors lightweight championship against Soren Bak. He lost by unanimous decision, another setback, but Paddy kept going. He dealt with devastating injuries, including 18 months on the sidelines due to a hand injury. During his UFC run, he suffered a major ankle injury against Jared Gordon that required surgery. The wound didn't heal properly and became infected, keeping him out even longer. During these injury layoffs, the depression returned. Paddy revealed he almost pulled out of his fight with Bobby Green because of concerns over his mental well-being, but he always came back. When Paddy finally signed with the UFC in 2021, he made an immediate impact. His debut against Luigi Vendramini on September 4th, 2021 nearly didn't happen. Paddy revealed his visa was only approved 1 week before fight week due to a minor past legal issue, but he made it, and he knocked out Vendramini in the first round, earning a performance of the night bonus. In October 2021, he signed a 7-figure endorsement deal with Barstool Sports worth over $1 million. Paddy's UFC run was remarkable. He beat Rodrigo Vargas by submission in round 1 at UFC Fight Night 204 in March 2022, earning another performance of the night bonus. He later revealed he made only $12,000 to show and $12,000 to win for that fight. Then came one of the most emotional moments of his career. On July 23, 2022, at UFC Fight Night in London, Paddy faced Jordan Levitt. Just hours before the fight, Paddy learned that his close friend Ricky had taken his own life.
One of my friends back home had killed himself. This was 5 hours before me weigh-in. So Ricky, lad, That's for you.
Most fighters would have pulled out. Paddy fought anyway, winning by rear naked choke in the second round. In his post-fight interview, he wore a black armband in tribute and delivered an emotional plea for men to speak up about their mental health struggles. He said finding out what Ricky had done literally hours before the fight was heavy. He went into the fight with a heavy heart. Before walking out, he was nearly crying standing in the back. In December 2022, Paddy launched the Paddy Foundation, a charity focused on improving men's mental health and helping children who face food insecurity. That same month, he faced Jared Gordon at UFC 282. He won by unanimous decision, but the result was highly controversial. Many media outlets, fighters, and fans believed Gordon had won. In fact, 23 out of 24 media sources scored the fight in favor of Gordon. The backlash was intense, but Paddy pushed forward. He beat Tony Ferguson by unanimous decision at UFC 296 in December 2023. Then he submitted Bobby Green with a triangle choke in the first round at UFC 304 in July 2024, earning a $200,000 performance of the night bonus. His biggest win came against Michael Chandler at UFC 314 in April 2025, a third-round TKO that earned another Performance of the Night award. Through it all, Paddy's personal life remained stable. He married his longtime girlfriend Laura Gregory on May 28, 2023 at Peckforton Castle in Cheshire. The couple had been together since they were teenagers. In November 2023, they announced they were expecting twin daughters. On April 17, 2024, Betsy and Margot Pimblett were born. Paddy frequently shares photos of his daughters on social media. He's also close friends with fellow mixed martial artist Molly McCann. He describes himself as a socialist and an opponent of the Conservative Party. He supports the Liverpool-wide boycott of the Sun newspaper. He's a massive Liverpool Football Club supporter and has expressed a desire to fight at Anfield, the team's home stadium. Paddy has also said his trademark floppy hair and lack of tattoos allow children to identify with him in a way that wouldn't be possible if he was covered in tattoos. He wants to be relatable. He wants to be someone kids can look up to, and through his mental health advocacy, he's saved lives.
Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve it is by killing yourself, please speak to someone.
Fans have approached him at events, thanking him for giving them the courage to seek help. One man told him in Las Vegas that Paddy saved his life. But Paddy's thoughts are always with those he couldn't help. He said that even since his emotional speech after the Levitt fight, he knows about 3 or 4 more people who have killed themselves. He said he wishes he could do more. He believes the government needs to fund mental health services better because people can't get through it alone. Now, after the loss to Gaethje, Paddy faces the biggest test of his career. Not physically, not even competitively, but mentally. Can he bounce back from this? Can he rebuild? The physical damage will heal. The rankings can be climbed, but the questions about his place in the division remain. Did he get exposed at UFC 324? Was the title shot premature? Or did he simply fight the wrong fight, refusing to use his grappling when it was clearly the path to victory? Reports suggest potential matchups against Dan Hooker or Benoit Saint Denis next. There's even talk of a massive fight against Conor McGregor, who is desperate to return at the UFC's planned White House event in June 2026. A fight with McGregor would be enormous for Paddy's star power, but it's also risky. For now, Paddy is keeping a positive mindset. In a recent video on his YouTube channel, he laughed off his injuries and said he wants another fight with Gaethje. He said he hopes Gaethje goes on to win the undisputed lightweight title from Ilia Topuria. He said if Gaethje doesn't retire soon, he would love the chance to face him again. He admitted certain moments from their first fight still annoy him and make him want to prove himself in a rematch. Whether that rematch ever happens remains to be seen. Gaethje is now expected to face Topuria next for undisputed gold. If Gaethje wins, maybe a rematch becomes possible. If Gaethje loses and retires, that door closes forever. Paddy Pimblett dropped in the rankings after his loss. He suffered brutal damage. He got criticized by legends and rivals, but he also showed a heart that few fighters possess. He refused to quit. He spoke about mental health when he was at his lowest. He honored friends who had passed away. He thanked Gaethje for the fight, and within days, he was back in the gym, working toward his next opportunity. The tragic fate of Paddy Pimblett isn't that he lost at UFC 324. It's that he came so close to greatness and watched it slip away. But as Paddy himself said in the octagon, bloodied and beaten, staring down the end of his undefeated UFC run, "I'm 31. I'll be back better. You haven't seen the last of me." What did you think of Paddy Pimblett's performance at UFC 324? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to MMA Rivals so you don't miss the next ones.